Awesome. Okay, thank you, Janelle, for that reminder. So welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for a topic that I think is very close to a lot of our hearts. It's just been a lot of stress going on in the last 20 months or so, and hopefully the tips that you learn tonight and the content we cover tonight will be of benefit to you. We hope to cover a wide variety of different things to help you cope with stress and overwhelm, and yeah, hopefully it can help provide a little more balance in your life. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Melissa Kotlenberg. I'm a certified holistic health coach, and I'm a wellness educator with doTERRA, which is the #1 essential oil company. And I'm also a mom of 5. I've been married to my husband, Brian, for 21 years, and we have 5 children. And the whole reason that I got started on my journey into health was because of one of our kids, whose name is Tyson. He's 12 years old. He was born with some pretty severe congenital heart defects. He underwent 3 open heart surgeries at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. And he's the whole reason why we got started using doTERRA essential oils. But we've also found that they have been super supportive for my mental wellness. You can't go through a journey like what we went through, where you watch your son fight for his life, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and actually more times than that too, because it wasn't just the surgeries that caused him to be hospitalized, but he did get a lot of pneumonias, and he stayed in intensive care many, many times because of respiratory infections. And so, you know, when you go through something like that and you live the first 3 or 4 years of your child's life in and out of Sick Kids Hospital, you just can't go through something like that without having that affect you mentally. So for the first number of years, I didn't even really realize that I had an issue. I just kept going. I was in survival mode. We had to keep going. We didn't have a choice. When you're a mom, you don't have a choice. You just have to keep going despite all of these things coming at you. And you just kind of push it away and push it down. And in 2016, so it was shortly after we started using doTERRA oils for our son and having him get his respiratory health back on track, I realized that as my son did better physically, I actually noticed that I was doing worse mentally. And I don't know if it was because I was doing worse or it was because I was acknowledging and I was finally realizing that I wasn't okay. So I did seek some professional help, and I was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety in 2016 and went through a number of counseling sessions to walk me through, to kind of help support me in that way. And it's not just the counseling that has helped me. There's been like a plethora of tips and techniques that we use. And we just want to share those things with you tonight. So that's a little bit more of my journey and how I got started, and why this topic of stress and overwhelm and anxiety, why that's such a passionate topic for me, because I went through it and I know what it's like. And I just want to help other people get through as well. So if we can help you find some natural tools to add to your toolbox, then that's the whole point of tonight. So that's a bit of my journey. I'm going to open it up to Janelle now, who's going to share her story as well, and then we'll get started with sharing our information with you.
Hello. So hi, thank you for that wonderful introduction of yourself, Melissa. My name is Janelle Kotlenberg, and we have the same last name because we married cousins. So some people, wonder how we're related there. I started on my natural health journey probably 17 years ago when my body was really sick and struggling, and I was not getting answers from any type of medical community or even the natural community.
We can't see each other. Oh my goodness.
Oh, sorry. Any of the natural community that I was really trying to discover on how to live well and be well. And that led me to going to school at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition, and I became a certified nutritional practitioner. So if that wasn't crazy enough, as I was learning about my health and moving myself towards a health journey, Melissa, maybe you can mute everyone. I don't know if everyone's muted. I learned that a lot of the physical health challenges that I was dealing with also were mental and emotional. And as I unpacked that side of that health world, I realized that I came from a lot of trauma and abuse in my past, and that was creating a lot of the physical health issues. And as I was cleaning up the physical issues in my body, the mental, emotional stuff spills over, and then you have to address that as well. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you all of the stuff that we have found helpful for us. And yeah, let's get started. So next slide. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being not at all, 10 being, this is a big problem, I want you to write down the answer to these questions. So how often are you aware of being stressed in your daily life? And the reason we ask this is sometimes we think our stress levels are normal, and yet we're functioning at a very high stress level and a very high cortisol level, which is spilling out into the rest of our life. How concerned are you about the quality and quantity of your sleep? How frequently do your emotions feel difficult to manage appropriately? So these questions kind of give us a little picture, or you a little picture, of what is going on in your mental emotional health. And the hypothalamus is a tiny control tower in your brain. And when stressed out, it orders the brain to send out the stress hormones, which is cortisol. This is designed to protect you because we're in the fight and flight mode. So our bodies are just functioning on fight and flight. But when this happens prolonged, a long time, or it brings like over multiple months and possibly years for some people, it can bring devastating effects on the physical and mental well-being of your entire body. So symptoms of chronic stress are irritability, anxiety, depression, headaches, insomnia, poor immune function, increase in blood pressure, and also 70% of the problems sleeping are related to the psycho and psychological issues, that is environmental and medical. And those increased cortisol levels means the melatonin levels are not able to rise to help promote sleep. So it's a really big factor when we have that stress running through our body, that cortisol running through our body, and we don't put a stop to it. So we're going to learn a little bit about that today. Next slide. So we have 3 brains, and we all know about the brain in our head. And science is doing research, and natural and allopathic fields are continually doing research on this. It is the seat of our intelligence. It's the seat of our logic. And however, there's also an unconscious mind that directs 90% of our behaviors. And they're learning that this unconscious mind this unconscious pattern that we have creates patterns in our life. And so maybe as an adult, you're like, I feel like I've dealt with these issues before, but they keep coming back. And that's where that dynamic of that unconscious mind, the healing that needs to happen to help that unconscious mind shift and change the pattern, so we don't, let's say, sabotage or create the stress in our body. So I think most people here are moms with kids, and if you aren't, you could probably still see these patterns. But let's say we do something to ourselves. We're like, why did we do that to ourselves? Why did we do that? And then we learn from it, we back up, but then we end up in that same type of pattern. And that's usually the unconscious mind. And that's where that subconscious healing and awareness needs to happen, so we can help improve that. The second area is the gut brain. And we hear this a lot, the mind and the gut brain. 90% of the body's serotonin is involved in mood and management, and that's produced in the gut. So what we eat does affect how we feel. It's very dynamic and influenced. And the gut is the foundation of our health, and that affects many areas of the body. Now, the last brain we have is the heart. And this is a newer concept for people. Like even me, I've learned about it in the last maybe year and a half, where there is neural pathways running from the heart to the brain and from the head brain to the heart. And this is that dynamic of also that unconscious mind, where we allow stressors from our past, maybe hurt, abuse, anything like that affects the heart, which also affects the head, and they're interconnected. So they're continuing to uncover these 3 brains and how they're interconnected, and it's really fascinating. And we want to address all 3 areas today. Next slide. So proper nutrition. Proper nutrition is vital for our health. And the foundation of proper nutrition is eating real food. Nowadays, when we go to the grocery store, we see so many things that are processed before they get there. So my rule of shopping is typically going around the store. That's where you find your produce, your meats, your dairy, your breads, things that are whole from nature and not adulterated too much. You can click. So we want to eat clean, whole foods. And when we think of our food that we're putting on our plate and we're putting in our body and we're putting in our mouth, we have to ask ourselves, how much has this been adulterated to get in my body? So one thing that I like to think of is sometimes I used to eat this, guys. So this is why we can get a box and it says, this is mashed potatoes. And it's like, oh, well, we know potatoes are round and they come up from the dirt, and then you cut them and you cook them, and then you mash them or you bake them or you roast them. Lots of different ways to eat potatoes. But when you're opening a bag from a box and you add water and put it in a pan and you have mashed potatoes, there's some processing that happened to the potato particles that are in this bag that have created the potatoes that you're getting today. It's eliminating the work, but it's also creating not real food coming in your body. And because of the additives and the preservatives that have been added to that bag and the broken down powdered potatoes that you have. So we also want to avoid foods that trigger anxiety, that speed up your heart rate, like caffeine, alcohol, and also sugar. When our sugar levels are affected, it can create a huge influx in our stress levels and our hormone levels, but then also our energy levels. When our energy levels go down, we can tend to make wrong choices when we eat. So when we are eating, I really like to say, if you want to eat well and ground yourself and calm yourself mentally, increase your protein. And protein can look like a lot of different things for people, but we have nuts and seeds, we have your almond butters, we have your meat. There's vegan proteins out there. Make sure you get good sources, because sometimes the vegan proteins can have a lot of additives as well. So protein really grounds you. Caffeine is something that stimulates your body as well, that can create this disconnect with being grounded and calm in your food, so you can create cravings with caffeine. Caffeine can also affect your digestive system by eliminating food and processing the food faster than you should, so you don't absorb the nutrients. Some people notice that when they consume caffeine, they get to go to the washroom right after, and they're like, oh good, I had my washroom time. But that caffeine is actually stimulating the pyloric sphincter to open, release food, possibly before it's ready. So then it releases out of the body. It kind of works as a laxative almost. And that's where caffeine can be an unhealthy dynamic in our foods. I'm not saying you can't do caffeine, but check with your body. Is it serving your body well, or is it not? And lastly, I want to speak to alcohol. Alcohol can do multiple different things for people. It can be a stimulant and it can be a depressant. And for some people, it can be a stimulant at the time of consumption, but a week or two later, it can be very much of a depressant, which doesn't help our mental emotional state. So check in with yourself. Is alcohol serving you? Is caffeine serving you? Is artificial food or sugars serving you? And then lastly, nowadays, we are lacking the nutrition count in our foods that we have had hundreds, 50 years ago. Today, the study of fruits and vegetables, you can eat about 12 apples today to get the nutrient density that an apple used to give you 40, 50, 60 years ago. So that's quite a different nutrient intensity. So supplementation is important for us nowadays because we're not getting what we need in our food. Next slide. So as you know, we are with doTERRA, and doTERRA's #1 selling product is the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And when I first started with doTERRA, it took me probably a year to order this product because I was very skeptical. I thought they were very good at essential oils. They were doing beyond what the industry did. But the vitamins, I was like, no, I know my vitamins. I'm a nutritionist. I'll go to my health store for it, right? But I was pregnant with #3 and I was feeling very tired. I was working a full-time job, taking 2 children to daycare. And my friend said, you know what, just try it. You have this 30-day money back guarantee. And I was like, fine, I'm going to get my money back if it doesn't work. And so I'm a bit stubborn like that. So I started to try it, and within 2 weeks, I noticed a drastic difference. I wasn't exhausted. My mental fatigue that was happening was completely gone. And for me as a nutritionist, I knew the importance of omegas with making a baby. So I was taking like double dose of those health stored omegas because I didn't want to have that mummy brain that we so often hear about. And I didn't, but I was finding I was starting to get lethargic in that area. So taking these was massive. Now, what's the difference about these versus other supplements? So first off, these do not have fillers. There's a lot of supplements out there that have fillers that just fill in the capsule, which your body can't actually absorb. So these are very bioavailable. So your body can do what they're supposed to do with the nutrients in them. So they have, the vitamin pack has actually 3 bottles, the 3 bottles you see here. It has a whole food multivitamin and mineral. The alpha CRS is an antioxidant, so that helps with cellular energy and longevity. And then the omega is omega-3, 6 and 9, and it has fatty acids and 9 essential oils in it that help decrease inflammation, help your mental strengthness, so like being alert and awake. It helps your mental and emotional well-being, helps your digestive health. It has antioxidant and DNA protection. It helps your eyes and your brain and your nervous system, supports liver function. You have less discomfort, less pain. It helps your immune system. It helps stress levels, helps with your heart health and your cardiovascular health. So lots of dynamics with this supplement pack. And since taking it those first times a few years ago, I haven't stopped, and I definitely notice a difference when I don't. So very, very important dynamic to have proper nutrients for your mental, emotional well-being. Next slide.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit now about movement. Thank you, Janelle, so much for sharing your story with those supplements. I know for myself too, when I started taking those supplements, I was able to stop taking a lot of the other additives that I was taking, the add-ons, right? Like I just took a supplement from Costco, right? And then people said, well, when you're under a lot of stress, you need to up your B vitamins because your B vitamins, become very, very deficient very quickly when you're under stress. And so I was taking like a B100 Supreme or something like that, which I think it did help. But when I started taking the lifelong vitality supplements, I noticed that I didn't even have to go to that B100 supplement anymore because I was getting exactly what I needed from those whole food supplements. And sourcing really makes a big difference, right? Synthetic supplements versus whole food supplements, like it's serving your body in a completely different way. So let's talk a little bit about movement. I love this quote here that the best exercise for you is the one that you will actually do. And I didn't want to call this slide exercise because sometimes people hear the word exercise and they go, no, it's not for me. I don't want to have to do that. But there are so many benefits to moving your body every single day. Moving your body, getting your heart rate up, it releases endorphins in your brain, which are like the happy hormones that can help you cope through the day. They help you deal with stress. And for myself, I have to start my day with moving my body every single day just to get those happy hormones going and to break that cycle of negative thoughts. I know for me, when COVID first hit and the gyms were closed and the schools were closed and the kids were home, and I did not move my body. I didn't even have an option, right? If the gym was closed, I could have gone outside and gone for a run or a walk or something like that, but I couldn't even function well enough to tell myself what I needed to do. And then I signed up for a Beachbody. I'm sure some of you have heard of Beachbody here, and I signed up for a membership there. And I love it because I can work through the different workouts at my own pace. I can do it in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, whatever. And I found that I was getting up off the couch and wanting to do my exercise, because when you get those happy hormones going every single day, it can break that cycle of negative thoughts. It can break that pattern of negative behavior of, sitting on the couch and feeling sorry for ourselves. So I know for me, when I joined a gym, which was something that I had not done in all of my years of being at home with my kids, I was a stay-at-home mom for many years. First went into social work, then went into teaching, and then I was at home with my kids for, I think, 16 years before I went back into the workforce. And of those 16 years, I never had a gym membership. It wasn't on my radar. It wasn't something that we could actually afford on a single income, one income earner. And then when my youngest started kindergarten, and I realized that my life was kind of taking a different path because all the kids were going to school, I was like, you know what, it's now going to be time for me. So I joined a gym, and I absolutely love it. And I'm thankful that our gym has stayed open for most of COVID. In the beginning, they did close down, but they only locked down once. And then after, when the government did it again, they said, no way, this is essential. People need to exercise. We need it for our mental health. We need it for our physical health. So if you don't have something, a pattern or a routine in your life where you're moving your body every day, getting your heart rate up, I really highly recommend to get started with something like that. And it doesn't have to be a weighted workout, an interval workout. It doesn't have to be cardio. Some people hate cardio. It can be yoga or Pilates, something calm and relaxing. It can be high intensity cardio workout if that's your jam. It can just be getting out and walking in nature. It can be biking, swimming, dancing, golf. It can be whatever you want it to be. Just do what you love. And so we shouldn't look at exercise as a negative thing, of something that you have to do because, oh man, it's for my health, I have to do it, or I should do it. We can make exercise, we can make movement a celebration of what our body can do. So if you love to dance, crank that music and just, kick up the dance floor in the middle of your kitchen, right? Like just do whatever it is that you love and get your body moving every day, because it's really just going to help open up what I learned in one of my courses. It opens up the medicine bottles of your body. So it's literally like medicine for your body. It's going to help you with your immune system. It's going to help with all the different, your endocrine system. It's going to help physically in every system of your body. But here tonight, talking about mental health, I can't stress this enough. So get out there and do some moving. And then another thing that I find has been really, really helpful for me in my journey is to spend time every day getting quiet. And what I mean by that is different things. There's so many things that we can do during the day to help calm our mind and refocus and realign ourselves. And for me, it's really helpful because it helps me to focus my attention and eliminate the stream of jumbled up thoughts that could be crowding my mind. For me, when I'm under a lot of stress, or when I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm too busy, or when I'm even feeling kind of in a depressive state because of all the things in the world going on around us, my thoughts are just crowding my mind, and it's just causing me so much stress. So getting quiet with our thoughts, acknowledging the thoughts that we're having, and then allowing ourselves to work through those thoughts. So for me, reading a daily devotional has been really helpful for me. I'm a Christian, so I try to spend every morning with a little bit of scripture reading and prayer, just having my quiet, I call it coffee and God time. Pour myself a coffee, and I have an app on my phone that I use that has a devotional, and there's reading plans that I can go through, and you can pick a topic. So let's say I want to learn more about how to get myself out of depression or how to deal with my anxious thoughts. Then this app kind of walks me through and points out some different scripture texts. And then I spend some time in prayer, just talking to God about the things that I'm experiencing and, giving my day over to him. So that for me has been extremely helpful. And I find that on the days that I'm doing really poorly, or the weeks that I'm doing really poorly, or the months that I'm doing poorly, I have to check myself and ask, have I spent time in prayer? Have I actually had my coffee and God time, or have I, kind of just been too busy for that? So meditation or mindfulness is another thing. Like some people, there's apps that you can get on your phone for meditation. Personally, I love meditating on scripture and on God's word, but there's so many things that you can be meditating on. It can be personal, it can be daily affirmations. You can look some of those up online. So if you're looking for affirmations that you want to declare to yourself in the morning when you start your day and really focus on those words, you can just go on Google and say, daily affirmations for anxiety, or daily affirmations for stressful situations, or something like that. And then you can create your own, edit them so that they fit with who you are, and practice them. And just every single day, have that time to meditate on those words, and to just to really realign yourself and regroup your thoughts. Another thing is deep breathing. So this is something that I use. I wouldn't say daily. It's not a daily thing, but I definitely have had to use it in the past to help work myself out of a panic attack. So I mean, they're very manageable now because I'm using all of the tips that we've learned and that we're covering here tonight. And when you put them all together, you have a pretty cohesive package of solutions and tips that you can use. But for me, deep breathing has been really helpful in slowing my heart rate again, lowering my blood pressure. So for those of you who have ever experienced moments of panic or panic attacks or anxiety attacks or whatever you want to call them, getting into a good pattern of deep breathing can be really helpful in working your way out of that. And I use my essential oils with that too. And we're going to talk about some essential oils in a few minutes that can be really helpful in times of panic and times of anxiety. But this is also another really good tip. And then a gratitude journal. So I actually have 2 journals. So I have one journal that's my gratitude journal, and then my other one is my top 3 jobs for the day, or my top 3 tasks. So my gratitude journal is the things that I'm grateful for. So just, when you're feeling like you're really struggling emotionally, it's really important to ground ourselves and refocus ourselves on the things that we are grateful for. So you can have, you can say the same 3 things or the same 10 things every day, or you can find new things. It's just, really just focusing on the things that we're grateful for and focusing on our blessings. Because when we start our day and when we remind ourselves throughout the day of all of the positive things that we have going in our life, it can help us to kind of shift those negative thoughts. And in this case, rewiring the brain is really important, and focusing on the good things. That is what we're going to put out there in the world. So if we're always thinking negative thoughts, we're going to be speaking negative words. We're going to have negative body language. We're just going to have a negative attitude overall. And it's kind of like the vibe that you put out there, right? Whereas if we're training our mind to focus on the good things, then it's just easier to have a bit of sunshine in your life and to share that with others as well. So gratitude journal is one thing I do. And then just to help me manage my time, I have my top 3 tasks, which are, they're different every day. Sometimes it's 3 business tasks. Like I have to get this, and this done because I've got a webinar coming up. So I got to finish my PowerPoint or whatever it is. And sometimes those top 3 tasks are things like, if I've got kids at home sick, then sometimes those top 3 tasks are cuddle with the kids, read them books, and drink lots of tea, right? So it kind of just depends, but I find that having that top 3 task journal also helps me to really prioritize and really zero in on the important things in my life that I have to get done. And that helps me not feel overwhelmed when I have all kinds of things and deadlines to meet and things coming at me from this kid and that kid and, running 2 businesses and having 5 children and all of that, right? So those are just a couple of things that I do. And then also, don't be afraid to seek professional help if needed. I know at first, when I first reached out to a counselor, I was like, shh, don't tell anybody. And I didn't want anybody to know. And I was almost embarrassed about it. But after walking through what I did with her and just realizing and how helpful she was and how helpful it was for me to talk about my struggles that I was having and then to find solutions, it was empowering. It was so empowering. And I cannot speak highly enough about getting professional help if you need it. There's no shame in it. My husband actually came with me for a couple of sessions, and we had, like, if you want to call it marriage counseling, sure, call it marriage counseling. I'm not going to be, shy from talking about this kind of stuff because, again, you can't go through something like what we went through and not have it affect you mentally. And so anything that we can do to support our mental health and to help us walk through the journey, acknowledge the different pain points, and find solutions to heal and progress and be better people. I think it's a wonderful tool. So if you need that, definitely don't be afraid to use that tool. Okay, I think Janelle was going to talk a little bit to us today about how essential oils can be helpful for emotional benefit.
Yes, I think you can move to the next slide for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So essential oils are super beneficial for our emotional health. And why is that? Why do they work so well? So when you think of essential oils and you think of they have an aroma, they have a smell with them. And our brain creates memories with aroma. So we can think of like if we smell cinnamon buns or if we smell freshly baked bread, we'd be like, oh, that reminds me of when, right? So the brain has a very beautiful ability to take that aroma and create experiences. And these experiences could be positive or negative, and it's a very powerful effect. So how does this work? We have an aromatic substance from nature, so from a plant, tree, leaves, bark, grasses, stems, roots, flowers. And when we smell those aromatic compounds in that plant, it's chemistry. And it goes into our sinus cavity and it goes to the olfactory neurons in the upper part back of our nose. In that inhalation of the essential oils, it goes to the olfactory bulb, and that olfactory bulb transfers it to the limbic system of the brain. And the limbic system of the brain is where that chemical response happens. And the beautiful thing about essential oils is they can transfer through that blood-brain barrier. So we have a blood-brain barrier that protects our brain from lots of things, toxins and so many things. But essential oils have the ability to cross through that blood-brain barrier, which creates an amazing tool to create shifts in the brain. So when we think of chemical responses, I'm going to talk to you a little bit in the next slides about what chemical responses do what in the body. But these chemical responses from nature, from plant medicine, it creates shifts in the brain. And it can create positive shifts like uplifting the mood. It can downregulate your mood in like a panic attack or an anxiety attack. It can calm those nerves. It can also influence the pituitary gland, which also helps regulate hormones. So we have hormones.
Cuidado, mentiras de carro encima de la pantalla celular que me lo quiebra.
So we have hormone regulations in that as well. And when we have those aromatic compounds in the brain, it can do such a beautiful thing. Typically, when we're looking at inhaling the essential oils, it takes about 1 to 2 minutes to get those shifts in the brain, that limbic system to start changing. So when we diffuse essential oils, when we have them in our palms and we're smelling them, we're creating those shifts. And the beautiful thing about that is we can create experiences for our children, our families, situations. So our kids get home from school, we have a diffuser going with uplifting, connecting oils, and we ask them, how was your day? What did you learn today? What was your wins today? What was something hard today? We can create an environment where it makes our children feel safe, happy, connected, and remember positive experiences in their childhood. Okay, next slide.
All right, there we go.
Okay. So why do we want to use essential oils to manage our mood? They're natural. They're from the plant chemistry. They're very safe. There's no addiction, so we don't get addicted to it in a negative way. We might be like, oh man, I'm addicted to wild orange because it smells so good, but it's not going to have an addiction as in a negative consequence when we reuse it. We use it over and over again. It also generates that quick response, right? When my sister was having anxiety panic attacks, she would just open that bottle of frankincense, put it to her nose, and it was her whole body down regulated, and it was like her brain gave her the ability to think. She did not have the ability to she did not have the it was like the frankincense gave her brain the ability to say, it's okay, you got this, and you could function, but she wasn't like having a major panic attack. So it's very quick responses. And it's a very easy way to manage the emotions. You open the bottle and you smell it, apply it to the body, and it works very fast. Next slide.
Okay, we're going to talk to you, for those of you who might be brand new to essential oils or who have maybe never used essential oils, we're just going to review with you the 3 different ways that we can use essential oils. So the first way is aromatically. So that's the A there, and you see this woman breathing in the bottle. You can use oils either in a diffuser, which is just kind of like a cute little machine that you put water in, and you put a couple of drops of essential oils in. And then the diffusers work with ultrasonic vibrations that break down that oil drop into tiny, tiny, tiny little like nanoparticles, which then get released in the air, and we breathe them in. And Janelle had mentioned how it works with the olfactory system and how it gets, you know, the molecules travel to the brain. It can trigger the brain to do all kinds of neat things. And when you smell or inhale the essential oils, it triggers the brain to, like if you're diffusing calming oils, it will trigger the brain to keep you calm and to lower your heart rate and to slow your breathing and to lower your blood pressure. So it's an amazing, powerful way of using essential oils. It's my favorite way of using essential oils. Not a day goes by and not a night goes by where I do not have something in my diffuser. So if you don't have a diffuser, you can just open up an oil bottle and smell directly from the oil bottle, or you can do what we call a scent tent, where you just put a drop of essential oil in the palm of your hand. You rub your hands together, and then you cup your hands over your mouth and nose like this. And then you just take in nice deep breaths. I like to have at least 3 nice big full breaths when I'm having those moments of panic, and when I want to calm down, I just take at least 3 deep rhythmic breaths. So, you know, I'm breathing in those oil molecules for, I'm going to say, between 45 and 60 seconds, and sitting there and like breathing them in and, you know, saying my affirmations and quoting my scripture verses and trying to keep my brain calm. And I mentioned you can also just open the oil bottle and just smell directly from the bottle. So anytime you are breathing in an essential oil, you're using it aromatically. Then we have topically. This is my second favorite way of using essential oils for managing stress and overwhelm. So topically is when we put the essential oils directly onto our body. Now, a lot of essential oils will have some, you know, some sensitivity. So that the hotter oils, the more caustic oils, like oregano and clove and those kinds of things. So we will want to dilute them with some kind of a carrier oil, whether that's a coconut oil or an almond oil or a grapeseed oil, just any kind of carrier oil that you might have in your home. Of course, if you're using the essential oils for anxiety and managing your moods, then there's not necessarily going to be a lot of hot oils in them. You're not going to put oregano on your skin to help manage your anxiety, right? Although oregano definitely does have an emotional component to it as well. But just know that when you're trying essential oils topically, especially if you're brand new to essential oils, if you have sensitive skin, or if you're using essential oils with children, we recommend to dilute them with some kind of a carrier oil. And if you're ever in doubt about where to put an essential oil on your body, we always say to just put them on the bottoms of the feet. And that's because the oil molecules can enter into the body very, very quickly from the bottoms of the feet. And the skin on the bottoms of your feet is also very tough. So you're a lot less likely to have any kind of skin sensitivities. So if you're never sure, you can put it on the bottoms of your feet. But for me, I like to wear my oils like perfume. I have roller bottles all over my house, which are little, bottles that have a roller on the top, and then you can put your essential oils in the roller. You can top it up with a carrier oil so that it's pre-diluted. And then I just roll it all over my body. So I'm putting it most of the time on the back of my neck, behind my ears, sometimes across my heart. And I love putting the oils on my wrists and then just inhaling the oils from my wrists. And then it's kind of like when you have the oils on your body, you're sort of like a walking diffuser, and you're kind of, carrying that oil molecule with you all day long. And hopefully it will help keep you calm and grounded all day long. And then the third way that you can use essential oils is internally. Now, this is something that is unique to a company like doTERRA, where all of our oils have been tested very stringently, very strictly for purity and for potency. So we know that our essential oils do not contain any kind of contaminants at all. We don't have heavy metals, pesticides, yeast, bacteria, fungus, anything like that in our essential oils, and they've all been tested. We have a very stringent testing process. And so if the essential oil is 100% pure and there's nothing contaminating it, then some of the essential oils are safe for internal use. Not all of them, but certainly if that plant is safe for internal use, like oregano and peppermint and lemon, as long as the oil is pure and it has been tested for purity, then it is safe to take internally. So sometimes what I like to do is put my lavender in a capsule or in a glass of water and drink it. So we can do that with citrus oils, lemon, grapefruit, wild orange. Those are great essential oils to start your day with. And just it has a nice cleansing benefit on your body, but it's also, the citrus oils are a very uplifting scent. So that's a great way to start your day. And then there's another oil out there, which we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. It's called copaiba. And I love putting copaiba, a drop or two, under my tongue about a half an hour before bed. And it just calms the nerves, and it just keeps me right, like just takes my mood right down, prepares me for a wonderful night's sleep. So those are the 3 ways that we can use essential oils.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the emotional aromatherapy oils. So as you can see here, there's this beautiful wheel, and this wheel has lots of 6 different oils on it. And on the edge of the wheel, you see mint, citrus, spices, herbs, trees, florals. And I'm going to explain a little bit about the science and the chemistry of why this wheel was created, and what nature and essential oils can do. So when we think of tree oils, you see here there's console or forgive. They're more like calming oils for when you're sad or shamed or grieving, because in the purple there, when you're feeling the following, you can go to those oils. What tree oils do is, in nature, they are rooted into the ground. So they ground you, they calm your body and your mind. So when we are feeling emotions that can create distress in our nerves, in our body, we are going to those tree oils that can calm us. So when you're feeling the following: hurt, grieving, sad, ashamed, angry, anything in that pair, like that part of the wheel, those tree oils are going to help ground you and regulate you. So console, forgive, sometimes even peace and passion sometimes can help with that as well. For example, on the top right side of the wheel, you're going to see citrus. Citrus oils in nature are hanging on trees. So you have your citrus oranges, your lemons, your limes. Those things are uplifting in nature. So that is what it's going to do for our mood and emotions. So the chemistry that nature has is really beautiful in meeting our emotional needs. So your citrus oils are going to uplift you. The spice oils are going to add some more spice to your life when you're feeling disinterested, bored, somber, right? They're going to spice up your life, spice up your mind and your heart and your body. When you're feeling bitter, angry, and discontented, those herbs and grasses are going to help rejuvenate your mind and your heart. The mints and the florals are going to help with, like, the beautiful flowers. We see beauty in the flowers, but the flower, like, and it warms our heart, right? To get flowers, to see a field of flowers, it just makes you happy. So what florals are going to do is they're going to help the heart when you're feeling hurt, worried, fearful, anxious, and grieving. It's going to nurture that heart emotionally. So when we're smelling the essential oils in this wheel and in these emotional aromatherapy oils, our heart and our mind are getting rejuvenated and restored and calmed for our emotional needs. So how would you use this wheel? You can Google this wheel, doTERRA emotional aromatherapy wheel, print it off and have it on hand. And when you're feeling the emotions in the middle, discouraged, gloomy, angry, upset, sad, hurt, you can go to the oils closest to it, or like in proximity to it, and smell them. And when you smell the oil, and sometimes you're going to be like, it doesn't really resonate with you, might dislike the smell, you can go to the next oil, and usually you'll know exactly when it's the oil for you. Now, just a note, when you dislike the smell of an oil, our brains work in a wonderful way. Sometimes there's emotions that we're not willing to address or ready to address or even aware of needing addressing. And when we dislike an oil, it could be because our brains are protecting us from the chemistry that can create that shift in that emotional block or that emotional hesitancy in the brain. So our brains are protecting us from working through the emotions that we may not be ready to work through. And then there's times where you can't get enough of the smell of the oil. And if you smell the oils, you'll be like, you just want to hold it by your nose and smell it, because it just creates a sensation in your mind and body and heart that you just can't stop smelling it. And that could be because your brain is ready to work through the emotions that oil helps encourage and evoke in healing whatever may be unpacked in there behind the emotional root. So I hope that's helped explain this emotional aromatherapy wheel in a small sense. There's so much that went into this, so much science and research that went into this. And it's a really beautiful tool that we can utilize for our families and ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And the great thing is too, is that if you're curious about what exactly is in each blend, like let's say, for example, you're like, oh, peace, that sounds amazing. I wonder what's in it. You can Google doTERRA peace and the website will pop up and it will tell you exactly what oils are in that blend. So that's really helpful too. And then we also have this, the emotional aromatherapy oils available in what we call touch rollers. So if you're with doTERRA and if you have a wholesale account and you ever go shopping online and look at things, sometimes people will say, well, what's the difference between passion and passion touch? So anytime you see the word touch, that refers to the pre-diluted roller bottles. So these are bottles that have like a ball on the top. For those of you who are new, this is a stainless steel bottle, and it allows us to use the essential oils topically on our body really quickly, easily, and very convenient because you don't get, mess all over your hands if you're grabbing the oil and then diluting it with coconut oil yourself. So it's just nice. You don't have to worry about getting greasy fingers or anything like that. It's just an amazing way to apply them topically. So what I do with my kids when they're having moments, if one of my kids is having a complete meltdown, I have all the oils. Okay, I have the undiluted ones in these bottles as well as the roller bottles, but I will open up these undiluted ones when they're having their moments and can't exactly figure out, they can't necessarily express why they're feeling that way. And you just say, well, what's wrong? Like, what are you feeling? And they're just, I don't know. I mean, 12-year-old boys, they're not always very expressive with their emotions, right? So I will open up some of the bottles that I think he may be benefiting from based on, what the experience was prior to this meltdown. And he'll smell it and he'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I really like peace. So then we'll get out our peace roller or the cheer roller or whichever one he chose, and we'll just get that oil on his body. And if my diffuser is not running at the time, which isn't likely, but if it's not, then I might put some in the diffuser, or I might allow him to choose that oil to use in his diffuser that night at bedtime. But I find it such an empowering experience to have these tools right at our fingertips that we can use with our kids when they're experiencing all these different emotions. And it's not just for the kids, it's for ourselves too. Like there's times where I'm reaching for 2 or 3 of those different rollers in the same day, because sometimes we can experience all the feels just all in one day, right? So really beneficial to have all of these at our fingertips. Okay, I want to talk to you about another blend that doTERRA has put together called ADAPTIV. And it's called the ADAPTIV, what does it say? Tranquil blend? What is that the actual name of it? Tranquil blend? Because my bottle, that's interesting because my bottle says ADAPTIV essential oil blend. I thought it was like a resting or calming blend. I don't know, maybe this graphic is from a different market, like the US market. Anyways, what ADAPTIV is it's a very powerful oil that can really help us to adapt in stressful situations. And I think that this is probably my most used oil. When I had those moments of panic before, and I would have to like huff my oils and do my affirmations and help bring me down and like pull me out of a panic attack, I oftentimes would use Balance oil, Balance grounding blend, which we're going to talk about that one tonight as well. But when they came out with ADAPTIV about 2 years ago, it was a game changer for me. It can pull me out of a panic attack within like 30 seconds. Like it just works so quickly. It's so powerful. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I know I was just talking about this with Janelle and she's like, nah, I like it, but not necessarily my thing, where she loves the Balance. So I think it kind of just depends on what our experiences are and what kind of aroma and what kind of feeling we're pulling out of that bottle when we smell it. So the key ingredients in ADAPTIV are wild orange, lavender, copaiba, spearmint, magnolia, rosemary, neroli, and sweet gum. So we've got some citrus oils in there, which are lifting. We've got some floral oils in there, which are very comforting. We've got spearmint, which mint oils can be lifting as well. Copaiba is a wonderful calming oil. So when I smell this bottle, it to me smells like citrus and mint. Those are the smells that I pull out of it. And then someone else will smell it and be like, oh, I really smell the magnolia and the neroli, which are the florals, right? So I think everyone's going to kind of smell it and pull out the different aromas based on what they're needing at the time or based on what their favorite scents are. But it has a very sweet citrus scent. It's very calming and relaxing. It can also soothe, uplift, and increase feelings of tranquility. So I like to compare it to, helping us adapt in stressful situations. Some other people love to diffuse this at bedtime because it's very calming for them and it helps them get to sleep. And kind of just, different people have different ways of using it and different times of using it. So you can diffuse. So there's two bottles here. One is the roller bottle, which is for topical use. And the other one is the 15 ml undiluted bottle, which is for diffusing, but you can also use it for topical use as well. You can just, dab that on your wrists or across your heart. So you can diffuse the oil daily to maintain calm feelings, or you can use the roller topically on the bottoms of your feet or wear it like me, as a personal fragrance. So that's a little bit more about adaptive, or there's one more tip there where you can inhale it directly from your hands. So if you have the roller, you can just roll the oil onto your hands, rub your hands together and inhale it directly from your hands. Or if you have the oil blend, you just put a drop or two in your oils and inhale it. And I love it. I think it's a great addition to the doTERRA family. And I know 100% without a shadow of a doubt that if doTERRA didn't come into my life when it did, I for 100% would have gone to the doctor and I would be on an anti-anxiety medication right now. And I don't say that to shame anybody who is on anti-anxiety medication. I know that we have all had different journeys. We've all had a different path. I just personally myself was extremely stubborn and didn't want to go on a medication that I knew there was a great chance that I was never going to get off of it. So for many, many years, what that meant for me was I just struggled through it. And I just, really struggled is the word, because I certainly had not overcome it at all. But then adaptive came and it's been a game changer. The next slide, I'm going to tell you about the internal capsules that we use. And that has been a huge game changer for me in not even thinking ever again about going to the doctor. When they came out with these capsules, it has not even crossed my mind to go to the doctor. So these are adaptive capsules. So this is something that you take internally, like a pill, like you would a medication. And the key ingredients in this capsule are a little bit different than the ones that are in the oil. So they have lavender, coriander, fennel, scaledium, and GABA. And GABA is something that is very, very powerful. Our brain naturally produces GABA, but when we have mood disorders, depression, anxiety, whatever it is that we're struggling with, we have an imbalance in GABA in our brain. Most of the time, not enough. And what GABA does is it slows down the firing off of the excitability of neurons in your brain. So it's kind of like putting the gas pedal on your thoughts. And I take one of these every single day. The bottle says take one as needed. I need it every day. So I take it every day. And for me, it's a small price to pay to know that I feel in control. I can be a good mom. I always joke, I say, when mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And that's exactly how I look at it, right? That if I take care of myself, I am taking care of my family. And when I'm not taking care of myself and I'm not doing well, I can't mom well. I can't be a wife. I can't function. So for me, I take one a day. And if I'm having an extremely stressful moment, let's say my son has a really big appointment at Sick Kids and I'm really stressed out about what the doctors are going to say or what the plan is, then I might pop another one throughout the day to help me. Most of the time, I just take my adaptive roller out of my purse and apply that like perfume and breathe it directly out of my hands. But what this capsule does is it supports healthy emotional responses to everyday stressors. So some people might be under stress every single day. You might need to take one every day. Some people might only have stressful situations on Tuesdays. Maybe it's just a really busy day for you and your family on Tuesdays and you're always stressed out and you maybe lose your temper on your children and just don't have a good day. So take your adaptive on Tuesdays, right? So it's gonna look different for different people. Like I said, the bottle says take as needed. So, but there's nothing wrong with, and it's perfectly safe to take every single day. So it helps promote positive feelings. It encourages relaxation. It supports emotional balance, and it helps you to adapt to stressful situations. So that's one of my favorite products for managing my mental wellness. And then we have wild orange. So we talked a little bit already about citrus oils and what they can do for us in lifting us up. Citrus oils are rich in limonene. And so limonene is something that's not only very cleansing, but it's also extremely good for really helping with releasing the happy hormones, the endorphins in the brain. So it has an uplifting aroma. My kids call this one my happy oil because it really is like, you just can't smell wild orange oil and then think a nasty thought. Like, it's just not possible. It's just not possible. So citrus oils are really helpful. They've been shown to be calming as well as reducing feelings of anxiousness and tension. I love wild orange. I feel lifted. I feel motivated. I feel happy. I feel invigorated with wild orange. And then, like, my oldest son loves to put wild orange in his diffuser. So it's, you know, some people would be like, well, it keeps one person awake and it puts one person to sleep. How does that work? And I wouldn't say it's because it keeps me awake. I would say it's because it has such a calming aroma that my mood can be much more balanced, right? So yeah, some people can use it in the diffuser at bedtime and it will do what they need it to do to help them get to sleep at night. How do you use wild orange? Janelle, do you use that one?
I mix it in the diffuser a lot. My kids love it. They love it. They call it the happy oil. I also
Awesome.
have it in the bathroom in a little diffuser for the bathroom to make the bathroom smell.
Nice.
So it's a very common oil used. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a few uplifting blends. So elevation is a perfect blend to use when sad. It helps when negative emotions arise. It's great to use to uplift the mood. Now, elevation to me for many years was too strong of an oil to use. So I'm sharing this so you can understand, like, if something's too strong, it's not what you need. But elevation is directly created for seasonal affective disorder. And so I didn't find I resonated with oil. I found it too powerful, too perfumey for me. But this past winter, from like January to April, when I was just drawn to it, and I have an ability to like check what I need. And I smelt the oil and I was like, wow, I'm really drawn to this one. So it was diffused almost every day for like those few winter darker months, as we say, because it was something I really needed. And now when I go to it, I'm indifferent. I'm like, nah, it's not what I need. So sometimes there are oils that you're going to be like needing in an emotional state as things change in your life. So if you haven't liked something in the past, it is very possible that you will like it at some point. So just know that that does happen. Citrus Bliss is another blend that's uplifting. It's energizing, refreshing. It helps when you are overwhelmed by negative emotions, and it helps uplift your mood and reduce stress. Now, Citrus Bliss has been super powerful for people who are in depression that maybe have thoughts of self-harm. So that's a really deep-rooted pain point as well. So Citrus Bliss, in people I know that have had those thoughts of self-harm, that Citrus Bliss just diffused can create that shift within minutes for people. A lot of parents find it's amazing for their teens when their teens are in low moods. Diffusing it brings them their teen back. They would say to me, like, I have my child back when I diffuse that, because the children are even nowadays, they're in such a low mood, and COVID has been very hard on the teens. So Citrus Bliss is an amazing oil. It's mainly for diffusing. You can apply topically, but these are for low emotional states and low moods, and diffusing and using them topically can uplift you very quickly. Next slide. So lavender is another oil that's very calming. We all know lavender, we can think of lavender. And the main chemical constituent is linalool. And it's widely known for its ability to promote a relaxing atmosphere and for a restful night's sleep. But doTERRA is doing lots of medical research on lavender, and they are the first company to have medical grade lavender. And the reason that is because our consistency of the oils. So the medical field does not look at things medically and holistically unless it's consistent. And that's the thing with nature. Batch to batch to batch, doTERRA's essential oils have been very consistent. So now the medical field is opening up their minds to study doTERRA essential oils because our batches are so consistent in the chemistry compounds and what they're looking for, and they don't have fillers. So when you use doTERRA's essential oils, you're getting that consistency, which is opening up the medical field to do research on what essential oils can do in the physical body. So lavender was the first oil they studied, and they are finding, they're doing internal use studies, and they're finding that 2 to 4 drops of lavender every 6 hours can help with anxiety. It's like your anti-anxiety essential oil in a capsule. So if you do 2 to 4 drops in a capsule every 6 hours, it will help regulate and manage your emotions in a very healthy, non-addictive, non-dependent way. And it's not going to create crazy drowsiness or crazy numbness that some medications can do. So it's very powerful because they're studying that the ability to infiltrate, like the ability of lavender in the bloodstream as well. And it's the half-life, that's what it's called. And so they're really doing tests on that. The next oil that they are studying very in-depth is copaiba. And the main chemical constituent in this is beta-caryophyllene. And it promotes feelings of relaxation, and it helps with calming tension and nerves. So when we're looking at copaiba, I like to think of it as when your nerves are firing so much when you're stressed, copaiba just brings it down. And you might recognize the beta-caryophyllene as it works in the CB or what's the receptors?
CB1 and CB2 receptors.
The endocannabinoid receptors, and it works in the second receptor. So the first receptor is only interacting in the brain. The second receptor interacts in the entire body. So it's like working in your nervous system, your lymphatic system, your entire body. And that's a beautiful delivery system for copaiba to help regulate emotions. So when our bodies are full of that cortisol, full of that stress, and we're running 9 to 5, always go, 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 that can create long-term exhaustion in the body and in the mind. So when using copaiba, we can use it in multiple ways. We can do it internally, like under the tongue. We can do it in a capsule. If you don't like the smell, you can apply it to the spine and rub it all over the back. And that down regulates that tension and nervousness that keeps firing in the body when we have a lot of stress. And you can put it on the bottom of the feet. Topically diffused is amazing for a lot of people as well. Diffusing it helps them sleep as well. So copaiba and lavender are 2 oils that I would use to help with sleep, to help regulate your emotions. And it can last a whole day if you use it consistently. Next slide. So there's 2 blends here, 2 other calming blends, and I'm going to talk about balance because balance is what I have gone to. Serenity is not an oil I typically go to, but balance is my jam. And what balance does for me, it helps my brain turn off and shut down when I go to bed. And when I get stressed out during the day, if I apply balance over my heart, the bottoms of the feet, just smelling it, doing a smell tent, diffusing it, it can help regulate stress and emotions. It just helps ground you. As you can see here, there's lots of tree oils. We have spruce, we have hoewood, we have frankincense. Those are going to ground you with lots of stress. And so that's where it's going to help with that. Blue tansy is an oil that helps you get moving. So if you're like frozen in stress, you're like, I don't know what to do next. The blue tansy in it is going to help with that movement forward in what your next task is, because we can get stuck in overwhelm and stressness with so many things. Nowadays, it's like, hear this from this person and this from this, and you have all this stuff coming. And you're just like, what is my responsibility? It's, oh, I just need to feed my kids right now. I'm not like, the weight of the world is not needing to be on my shoulders. And balance takes that off. and it releases that weightiness, and it just helps you balance and regulate. Melissa's going to talk about Serenity because she uses that more than me. Serenity isn't one that I typically go too much, so she'll share her story there.
I know a lot of people that like to use balance and or Serenity during the daytime. For myself, though, I tend to use Serenity at nighttime. For me, Serenity is one that just calms me down so nicely, like I'm in total chill mode. So I love putting it in the diffuser at bedtime. Now, Serenity has I find it's a very strong scent. And it's got some vanilla bean in it too, so it has a very sweet aroma, but it can be a little bit overpowering at first, especially if you're brand new to essential oils and have never used them before. So I would say with Serenity, start with 1 drop. Just do 1 drop in your diffuser and see how you like it. If you want to increase to 2 or 3 down the road, that's totally okay. But I just do 1 drop in my diffuser. And I also like to put 1 drop on the bottoms of my feet. Particularly, I kind of target the bottom of the big toe. And that might sound a little silly, but the bottoms of our feet have reflexology points, right? Our feet and our hands. And those reflexology points are connected to all different parts of the body. And the bottom of the big toe, believe it or not, is the reflexology point of the brain. So when we put calming oils on the bottoms of our big toe, we are calming our brain, and it's helping to activate our brain to do what we're wanting it to do, to calm it down much quicker than, putting it elsewhere on the body. That doesn't mean you can't put it elsewhere in the body. Some people have a Serenity roller bottle that they've created, 20 or 30 drops of Serenity oil in a roller, fill the rest up with a liquid carrier oil, and just kind of rub it across your heart before bed, or behind your ears, or on your neck. And in that way, you're not only getting those the oils into your body, into your bloodstream, but you're also smelling the aroma at the same time when you've got it across your heart. So yeah, Serenity is one that I use every single day in my diffuser and on the bottoms of my feet. And I used to be addicted to melatonin, like I could not sleep without it, or at least I thought I couldn't sleep without it. And when I had just started getting into doTERRA, I had one of our doTERRA leaders, her name is Kimberly. She came to my house. She taught a class for me and my friends, because I was like, these oils are awesome. They're helping our son. And, he didn't need his antibiotics, and they're so cool. I want to share this with people. So she came over and did a class at my house with some of my friends. And I asked her at the end of the class, do you have anything for sleep? And in the back of my head, I was still so skeptical that something like an essential oil could actually help me get to sleep. I like all the stress that I have in my life. Are you kidding me? Like I didn't even think it was possible. And so she gave me a little sample of Serenity, and I was like, okay, what do I do with it? So she said, bottoms of the big toe, put a drop in your diffuser. And I think I was asleep within about 10 minutes, like not a word of a lie. Like it was, and I slept so deeply and so restfully. I woke up in the morning, I was happy. I wasn't groggy. I always found that melatonin would make me feel so groggy. Like I would wake up and I wasn't quite done my sleep yet. Like I had woken up in the middle of a sleep cycle where I wasn't fully rested. And with Serenity, I don't have that. Like I have a good sleep. I sleep, I'm out cold. And my husband and I joke all the time, because if one of the kids happens to come to our room for something in the middle of the night, maybe one of them gets sick or they can't sleep or whatever, I don't hear them. He hears them first. And it was never like that before. All those years of me getting up and, being the breastfeeding mom and sleeping so lightly. And now I sleep very, very deeply with Serenity. So again, I love this one at nighttime, but some people, if you have really heightened anxiousness and a lot of nervous tension in your life, you might enjoy Serenity during the day, or, periodically when you're having those stressful moments, to kind of bring you down and on level ground again. But for me, I love it at nighttime. All right, we have, so we've come to the end of our content for the presentation of how to help with the anxiousness and the overwhelm. But if those of you on this meeting, on this call tonight, if you have never experienced doTERRA essential oils and you're wanting to give them a try, we would love to share a free sample of an oil with you. Sometimes we send 1 or 2, depending on what your needs are. So most of you will be connected to Janelle or myself. You know how to get a hold of us. You've probably got our cell phone number, or maybe our email, or message us on Facebook. Just find a way to get in touch with us. And if you're interested in trying a free sample of one of our oils, then we would love to put some of our oils in a little sample bottle for you and send them away. and we'll show you how to use them. And hopefully you can have a positive experience with these oils just like we have. Were you doing this one, Janelle, or was I doing this one?
I was.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you 3 ways you can get essential oils into your home. So the first one is most expensive. That's retail. And you typically pay that at naturopathic's office, chiropractor's office, and professional settings, massage therapy, all of that. Then you can get it wholesale. So that's getting the best products for the best price. It's kind of like Costco, where we have a membership. You get 25% off everything you purchase through the year. And then there's wholesale, and you get points for free products. So there's getting that 25% membership, but then if you want to earn points, you can get points, and then you can get free products with those points. And the points definitely create quite an impact, especially just this month. I redeemed like 800 points, which was kind of crazy. It blew me away, but I had a lot of points to use. And so that's around $800, $900 worth of product for free. Next slide.
That's awesome.
So what can you expect from us? So we have 2 stripes in this slide that shouldn't be.
I'm not sure what happened there.
But anyways, what can you expect from us? We have so much support and resources for you. So when you get started, you'll receive a welcome packet, and you'll be like, okay, I got my oils. Now what do I do? So you have a personal consultation where we go over everything with you, what you have in your products and what your needs are. And then you also get access to the VIP education we have. We have tons of education, tons of self-learning. We also have education on cleanses, on cleaning up your diet, women's hormones and health, mental, emotional health. On Oil Camp 3, we dive deep into emotional wellness and the science behind the oils, deeper than what we talked about here. We also have giveaways and community and ongoing support. So when you connect with us with essential oils, we are always there to support you with your answers, with answers that you may need, with life changes that may happen. We are here to help you. Next slide.
Okay, so I'm going to share with you some of the different options that we have for kits. So as Janelle mentioned, you can get a wholesale account, and the wholesale account is $42 for the year, and then you can purchase whatever products you would like at 25% off. But we have an option of getting actually a starter kit. And when you get a starter kit, you're actually paying below wholesale. So what happens when you get a starter kit is you get your wholesale account for free. So you don't have to first pay the $42 and then get a kit. This one price is sort of wrapped up with everything: your wholesale account, your diffuser, and your collection of oils at a discounted price. So we have 3 kits to show you. We have doTERRA has a lot of different starter kit options, but if you're wanting to address stress and emotions and overwhelm and anxiety and sleep and all of that, then we've picked the 3 that we think is best to address those issues. So we could sort of have a small, medium, and large. So this would be our smaller one. This is called the Aroma Essentials Kit, and it comes with 10 5ml bottles. And the blends that are in this kit are Northern Escape, On Guard, Peppermint, Adaptive, Breathe, which is known as Easy Air in Canada, Citrus Bloom, Cheer, Balance, Serenity, and Wild Orange. So not only are you going to be able to address your stress and sleep and emotions, but you've got a few oils in there that will also help with things like immunity and respiratory support. And it's a great kit to get started with if you want to have your house smell really nice, but not have to have toxins in your home. You're just basically diffusing nature. And then we have the emotional aromatherapy oils that we talked about earlier today: the Peace, Console, Forgive, Passion, Cheer, and Motivate. You can also get that in a kit, and that would be for 244 Canadian. Did I say the price of the other one? I don't think I did, but the price was on the bottom there. 207 Canadian. So that's like this one of the smaller kits that we have. This one works out to 244.75. Of course, there's shipping and taxes in there as well, and can't get away from that, unfortunately. But this could be a great way to get started as well. And then we have our large one, which would be the Healthy Essentials Kit. So the difference between the first, like the small and the medium kit versus this one, is this one has 15 ml bottles. Okay, so the other kits prior to this, they have 5 ml bottles. So the 5 ml bottles, they're the smaller bottles. They have between 90 and 100 drops of oil in them. So that means, if you're putting 1 or 2 drops in your diffuser, then of course you're not going to use every single oil every single day, but you can kind of do the math to see how long you think that these oils would last, around 100 drops ish per bottle. But the 15 ml bottles have between 300 and 350 drops of oil in them. So they're just, 3 times the size. So that could be something, if it's within your budget, it might be worth it to start with a bigger kit like this, because it's definitely not 3 times the price. It's $319.50. And with this one you get, so we talked about Adaptive tonight, and Lavender and Balance, Copaiba. So you're going to get those ones in this kit for sure. And then there's other ones in here as well that are going to help you with other things for your mind and your body and your spirit. So we can address immunity, we can address respiratory support, digestive support, pain and inflammation. So this is a really great option as well. And then it also comes with a great diffuser that runs for up to 12 hours. I don't remember whether you were doing this slide or whether I was doing this one, Janelle.
I can, but I want to address a question Christy asked in the chat.
Okay, sure. I didn't see it.
She asked, are there different qualities of diffusers? I have one off Amazon. I wonder if it would do the same as doTERRA. So I'm going to answer that twofold, yes and no. There are different quality diffusers. Will the Amazon do a better job or not? I think a diffuser is a diffuser, but because most it's kind of like mattresses. You get different qualities with the different prices you get. So I have bought diffusers off Amazon, like $30, $20 diffusers, and I found they work good right away, but eventually they start getting really loud and rumbly. And so that works well in my living room, but I don't want it in my bedroom at night. So the one I got off Amazon was like a 12-hour one before doTERRA had the long diffusers for sleep. So I had that in my room, and I also found it was bright. So I had to cover it because I didn't find I liked the light. It worked really well, and actually it still works, but it's really loud. So I moved it out of my bedroom. I do have a doTERRA one in my bedroom that lasts long, is quiet, and works well. With doTERRA diffusers, they do have a 1-year warranty. And with the Amazon ones, there's not really a warranty one. So I found the doTERRA prices comparable to Amazon when you're looking at quality ones that are going to last, and the warranty I like as well. So you could certainly get a Amazon one. It's like the function of the diffuser is the same. The quality of the material they make could be different depending on the price point. So you could spend a high amount on Amazon with a high amount of money, and that might last longer as well. I'm finding with Amazon lately, just in general, this is not a doTERRA or an oil thing, but their prices are creeping up, and I could get it cheaper elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So that's
I know.
Watch your prices. Yeah.
I started, as you know, Janelle, because you were the one that got me started in doTERRA, and I just would buy like an oil or two from you here and there, and I didn't even start with a doTERRA diffuser. I started with one that was, it was kind of known in our community to be a fairly high quality diffuser, and it worked pretty well. I think it was like $30, right? But when I got started with doTERRA and I got the pedal diffuser into my home, which is the one that comes with a lot of our starter kits, I could not believe the difference in the smell. Like I'd walk upstairs and I could smell that my diffuser was on, whereas I never really had that with my other diffuser. And, that's not to say that they don't work, but I don't think they break up the oil molecules in the same way. I don't know what it is, but they just, they can cover a larger square footage, and I was smelling the oils more when I used my doTERRA one. So now that doesn't necessarily mean that because some people who don't have a sense of smell can still benefit from diffusing oils, but that obviously says something for the quality of the diffuser. So I think we got to be a little bit picky with what we find on Amazon, because you just never know.
Yes, and now circling back to the presentation. So your mental wellness matters. What you put in your body today matters tomorrow. And we as moms, we just want to know that you have value, you matter. We always run our days, and we focus around our kids and we focus around our husbands. But sometimes we forget the one that we look back into the mirror to, and we can self-sabotage in that way. And sometimes it's because we don't think we have value, because we drag ourselves down. But we want you to know that you do matter. And essential oils has given us the power to have freedom from drugs and side effects. And we're not shaming you if you are on drugs and experiencing side effects, but there is a way out, and we want to give you hope in that way. Essential oils are natural and safe. They have no added addictions and additives with doTERRA, which is why we stand behind them. And they also have very quick responses. And with these oils doing emotional things, as you dive into learning about them, they do so many physical things to the body. They help with immune systems. They help with, cuts and breaks and on all these things that you can, it's like your health kit in a box in your house. And it's a very easy way to manage emotions for kids, to adults, to husbands. And sometimes with husbands, you just diffuse and they don't know. And they realize their mood's getting better. My husband's, I can just say it like it is, but some wives are like, I don't know about my husband. So I had one lady, she started diffusing, and he came home and he started cleaning the house, and he thought he was going to go take a nap, but she had citrus oils going and he had motivation, and he's like, I just cleaned the house, I don't know why, what's going on? And it was the emotions that the oils just invoked, that he didn't feel like he had to go that grumpy way to bed. And other friends I have where their husbands, like, they come home and they take a nap from work because they have to, have a busy night, and they're usually grumpy the entire time. And she started diffusing, and it shifted his entire emotional availability for the family, as well as for his tasks at night, where he went to another job, and he was a lot better emotionally, mentally, and physically because of the essential oil she was diffusing while he slept. Because she's like, I gotta help him because he's so low. And so it's an amazing way to impact an entire family, your entire emotional and mental well-being in the house, and create those memories, creating those positive environments.
All right. Oh, I thought I had one more slide with questions on it. But somehow that one
questions.
Yeah, we can open it up now for anyone who has questions about any of the content that was covered, or questions about a particular oil that you're curious about or need clarification on. Don't be scared to unmute yourself and chat.
Yeah, or you can write it in the chat if you feel more comfortable.
Yep, that's true too. Yep.
Hi, Melissa. It's Tanya. I don't know if you can hear me well enough.
Yep, we can hear you fine, Tanya.
Okay, great. I'm down in my shop, so I've been working away and listening to you wonderful ladies at the same time. So I just wanted to know, is there a shelf life on the oils?
That is a great question. So there is an expiry date on all of the essential oils. You'll notice on the labels there is an expiry date, but that is mostly because of FDA and Health Canada regulations. They basically have to have a 10-year expiry date on the essential oils. But I can tell you that doTERRA does longevity testing on their essential oils. And so what they started doing way back in 2008 when they first started is they would reserve a little bit of every batch so that they could test the longevity and test the shelf life of the oils. And what they have found is that the oils that they first started steam distilling and harvesting and sourcing in the beginning in 2008 still have the same efficacy as the oils that they're steam distilling and preparing right now, or like a month ago. So as long as we keep the essential oils away from direct sunlight, so don't keep them in your hot car through the summer. They come in amber bottles, which is to protect them from direct sunlight. So, try not to store them on a windowsill where the sun is beaming through them, where it gets really warm. But as long as we keep them at room temperature and out of direct sunlight, they will last way longer than 10 years. It's just that they're labeled at 10 years because of the labeling regulations of FDA and Health Canada. That's a good question.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, if not, I'm going to stop the recording.